Hey everyone, it's Sweet Kid here, and in this video, I'll be making it for the new players. And this is not one of my videos that dives deep into a certain topic, but this is one that I'll be making as a general guide to help you get on your feet in CSR2. Because while I have videos that dive deeper into these topics, I just wanted to gloss over the 8 mistakes I feel that new players just keep making in CSR2 and what you should avoid doing in this game. And the first thing that I will bring up is judging a car's performance by how it looks. And in real life, I can understand that because if you compare, let's say, my M5 right here to something else, let me find like perhaps the Lamborghini Aventador or the SV. It's just not going to work because I do see people think that, oh, my car's Lamborghini is going to be faster. Unfortunately, it's not. As you can see, I do have the SVJ in the bottom left. It's not a very good car from my perspective. The 570S, same thing. 650S, same thing. Now, in real life, I do understand and can agree that those cars would probably trash my M5 right here. That's no question. But here in CSR2, you need to know that things are very, very different because this car right here, the M5, is very good at live racing. And if you pit it against the McLarens that I just brought up and that Lamborghini, they're going to lose. My M5 is just going to win 9 times out of 10 because I've said it time and time again. All that matters about performance in CSR2 to make sure your car does well in live racing is having a good PP to EVO ratio. As you can see, my car here is 655 and 2121 EVO. Because the EVO is more than 3 times higher than the PP, it's going to lobby very well in live racing. It's not 100% guarantee because there are some cars that can get better ratios than this but just don't lobby well. But the general rule is that as long as you have a good PP to EVO ratio, you're all set. And that's point number 1 out of the way. So let's dive into point number 2. And point number 2 has to do with beating your dyno. And when it comes to beating your dyno, I will use one of my cars which can beat dyno. Where is it? Here it is. My DBX 707, because if I go into my dyno right here and I show you, it's 11, let's just round it off to 11 seconds. But when I actually run my car, it can actually run faster than that because most cars in recent years have been able to run under their dyno, and this is not a one-off thing. It's ongoing with most new cars to the game. They can just naturally run faster than the dyno no matter what. As you can see, I can actually run about 10.8. I believe I messed up the shift, so if I shift it right, I can actually run a little closer to 10.6. Let me try. There we go, because you don't shift to 4th in this gear and makes it 5th and 6th, and we're off. Alright, as you can see, about 10.8 flat. So while I can run faster than my dyno, I see a lot of people in live racing just do this all the time. Oh, I can run faster than my dyno. That means I'm going to win because if my opponent is running his dyno, which is about same as mine, I'm going to win because my dyno is faster. Now, this is not a very good mentality to have because in CSR2, what happens is that you can run under your dyno, but what you should know is that the game is tracking you. It's just monitoring you and it's spying on you. So anytime you run under the dyno, the game's picking up on that. So if you do it on and on and on and on and on, what happens is that you get bumped into a faster lobby. So now you can still run under your dyno and it's going to hurt you because the game's going to keep knowing that you're running under your dyno and the things you cannot win. So I cannot really find any players to demonstrate, so I have to use one of the bots over here. So let me show you what you should do. Keep in mind, my dyno is 11 seconds around there, so this is what you should do. Right here, and we launch. All right, messed up the shift again, but that doesn't matter. All right. The thing here is you do not run all out all the time. So when you get to the end and you see in front of opponent, slow down. And what this does is that since the game's picking up on your recent run times, I usually say it's about 15, your last 15 runs. What the game does is that it adds all of them up and divides them by 15. So it takes the average, and from there, it matches you in whatever lobby you're going to be in. So just by doing that, as you saw, I ran about 12 seconds. What this does is it makes the average go up. So it makes the game think that I'm running slower than I can actually do. And again, why do I do this? It's because I want my car to remain as competitive as it can possibly be. I don't want it to, again, end up in a faster lobby. And I just want my opponents to be as slow as they can be. So yeah, I do see that people might tell me, hey, it's a bit cheap to do such a thing, but that's how CSR2 has been for quite a while now. So I'm just hopping on the bandwagon. I'm just playing by the rules and taking advantage of this with this system by having a low PP, high evo, and just running slow on purpose. Okay, this guy wants to raise me, and let me demonstrate it against an actual player. So let's go. Now this car is actually quite good, but that Cosworth is not going to do well in this lobby. It's typically better off in a faster lobby where you can put more parts. Okay, let's go. Damn it, my nitrous didn't activate. Let's see if I can beat him anyway. Oh, I think I can. So, alright, as you can see, even though I messed up really badly, as you can see, due to that PP to EVO ratio I brought up, my opponents are usually about 300, 400 milliseconds slower than my dyno. So if I can beat them just a little bit, I've still won. So again, that's all that matters. So with that out of the way, let me bring up the next point number 3. And this is raising bets based on your gut feelings. And I can understand raising bets because it's a very, very fast way to make money, assuming you can get people to bet against you. Or when people challenge you and you raise a bet, it can be very profitable, and I won't lie, because not to brag or anything, I've probably earned about $1 billion doing that. $1 billion with a B. So what I did was I just kept using my low PP high evo cars, and I just kept making sure I'm only racing people who who I know that I can beat. So if I see a 992, something can beat dyno, I refuse. If I see something like this, F5, I usually refuse unless I'm feeling a bit dangerous. Other cars like this Supra over here, there is no way in hell that car is going to beat me. And you might notice I'm refusing these guys is because I know they're not willing to bet. They don't even want to bet 5k. So I can know that if I challenge them, it's a waste of time. So I would just rather raise someone else. And this guy over here, let me show you. He wants to raise 20k. I raised 10, but he wants to double it 20k. And let's go. And if I use any other car, I would probably be quite screwed, because then again, I don't have that PP to EVO advantage. So as you can see right here, well, his car is very good because the M4 can achieve very good high EVO and low PP. It's still unable to beat the dyno from what I was experiencing with. Well, I was experimenting because I didn't invest too much time in that car, but I did invest some. So I do know that car can get high EVO. I just haven't been familiar with the dyno beating. Alright, as you can see, he accepted that bet, but again, I can tell you I'm going to win, because a Supra at 3 stars is just not going to have the parts that it's going to need to excel against this. Because a Supra can beat this, but it needs to beat dyno, because the Supra is again one of those cars that I brought in part 0.1 that just don't lobby very well. It can get high EVO and low PP, but the way it ends up in lobbies is really, really poor. And as a result, I don't use it in live racing. Yes, I do have certain tunes for that thing. I just don't use it because, again, it's just not going to serve me very well. And why I bring up this betting thing is because I see a lot of people thinking, oh, that car looks slow, I'm going to win against it. I've seen it so many times. I've even had people race 200k against my M5 right here. And when I look at their cars, I just know that it's either an older car in CSR2 or one that just cannot get low PP high evo. So he can run all out. He's not going to beat me. So betting, you should only use this once you're very familiar with the cars that people tend to use and cars you should avoid betting against. Cars you should avoid, as I brought up, the Porsche 911, Turbo S 992, that's one of them, the most obvious one to me. The F5 Roadster right here and the F5 Concepts. Those are one of the highest Evo cars in this game with ridiculously low PP. What else is there? The SSC Tuatera. It's a dyno destroyer. Shouldn't race against that. Most Purple Star cars. I say most because usually in CSR2, Purple Star cars can be very good live racers. And the Mistral right here is very good. CC850 can be good if the right parts are fitted, which I don't have. Envision is super good. Right here, let me have a look. Utopia, this is a monster. This is also a car you should never bet against unless you are very confident and you know that your car has a very good tune and maybe is able to beat Dyno just in case he runs all out. IROC and the Demon, also very good. What else is here? Slower lobbies, yeah, the NSX, it's a monster. And well, this is not a comprehensive list because there are just too many good cars in this game, well, as many as bad cars, but you should just be wary because most cars that you can get in an event, especially a paid event, or cars that are just paid outright, these are usually very, very good at live racing. So if you go up against one of those, don't bet. If you want to race them, just race them. Just don't raise stupid amounts of money because I can totally understand that not everyone is swimming in cash. You know, I have $1 billion right here, but not everyone even has 100 million. So keep your money safe and keep it for events. And speaking of events, let's move on to point 4. And this is upgrading every single car you get out of rare imports. Now, to some people, it might be a bit stupid. Why am I bringing this up? Because there are genuinely people out there where the moment they get a car rare imports, they will upgrade it. And this is really not what you should be doing. When you're in rare imports, typically you're getting either the Prestige Cup car, that's one, or a car for an event. That's number 2. And once you get those cars, yes, if you're participating in the event, upgrade it because you will need it. Upgrade it if you're going to do well in the events. But if you get anything else, just make sure you don't upgrade it unless it's one of those good life racers which can attain good PP and Evo ratio. So other than that, and if you see a car that's just not good out of rare imports, just leave it. Please leave it aside and perhaps you can strip it for parts, or if you can, just keep it. Who knows? It might be used in an event because it actually happens. Because the most memorable one I can tell you is my 2 Rocket Bunnies. I have a Nissan. Let me find it. Let me find that Nissan. Right here. This one and another, the Rocket Bunny Corvettes. These were Prestige Cup cars. And again, while they were used in certain events like this one right here, for the Prestige Cup, they weren't used again until a long time later when there was a Hoonigan event ongoing. So when that event came, yes, my cars were already ready, but that's because I built them for the event and they were just reused again. So it was good for me, and basically, how do I say? It was just to save my resources. I didn't have to open the crates again. So it does happen as well, because another one that I can tell you is that because when I open crates randomly, sometimes, not all the time, I will get something nice. And pardon me, I've got a burp. Alright, so sorry about that. So I was randomly opening crates and I got this one, the DBS Super Leggera. And since I got that, I could I could do this event right here, which I just did a few days ago. I just completed it. So this car is used in this event. So by winning it earlier on, yes, I have the car in hand. So when the event that needs it comes around, yep, I can just build the guy and get to the event without having to faff about with silver keys. So that's that's great for me because I can save my silver keys for something else. And I typically save it for a Prestige Cup car, which is really, really good. And a few that come to mind are, well, the M5 right here, the F5 Roadster, the Corvette Z06 convertible, what else? The DBX 707 that came recently. Yeah, these are great life racers. And if I can, I'll just get a few, strip them, and maybe I'll just keep a few as like trophies, because I do keep a few around just to look at them. So yeah, well, most of the time you should just strip them anyway, because the more parts you can get for your actual car that you're building, that'll be for the best. So that's upgrading your cars and being very specific and only upgrading what you need and not upgrading everything in sight. So if that's it, let's move on to the next point number 5, and that's not doing this, the weekly elite cup. Now, what is this exactly? And this is something that's exclusive to crews, because once you're in a crew, you can do this event. And this event, well, we're done with the first, I would say 2/3, but once you do this, you can get a lot of rewards from fusion parts, gold, what else? Fusion parts, gold, some bronze keys, and especially the elite tokens, because the elite tokens that you can get from here, the yellow ones, are very, very difficult to get. In fact, I would say they're very annoying, especially the red ones too. So if you are in a crew and your crew typically, is a bit shy of the 900 race mark in this weekly elite cup, what you should do is just do your 8 races, please, because this shouldn't be a mentality of, it's not, well, how do I say this? Somebody else will do it. It's not a matter of somebody else will do it. The thing is that if you have the opportunity, please just do your races, because by doing your races, you're contributing to your crew, because you're doing the 8 races, but everyone benefits. So if everyone benefits, that'll be for the best. And the one thing about a weekly elite cup that's very, very useful is that at races 350 and 500, you can get those red fusion parts, and red fusion parts can be very, very annoying to get, especially right now, because I'm trying to get a mix of Porsche and Chevrolet fusion parts. So what I would do, what I forgot to do with this round, is to see how many races my crew has done. So once they're near 350 or 500, I will switch to a Chevrolet car or a Porsche, and I'll just wait. I'll either just take those cars in a live racing, just stick to them exclusively, or what I'll usually do is just log out of the game and just do something else. I'll just do something else until someone does the races. So once they do the races, and when the moment the race is done, and it will just give me a fusion part for whatever car that I'm currently using at the moment. So if I log out of the game and I've last selected a Chevrolet, and my crewmate does the race to get over 350 or 500, what happens is that the game will issue me parts of Chevrolet. So by doing that, I can just trick the game into just giving me parts for a car that I need parts for, because Chevrolet can be a bit annoying to get parts for, because the only purchasable one is the Camaro and the Corvette Stingray, which are both very old cars, and they just don't give very often red fusion parts when you strip them. So naturally, I use the weekly Elite Cup. So by doing this, as you can see, okay, I'm done with my 8 races and that's it. And I should know you can do your 8 races every single day for Monday to Friday. So please just do your 40 races. If you're worried about the gas, if your crew can just get to at least race 800, you're getting all that gold back and more. And not just gold, but all the rewards. So that's pretty much out of there. So the next thing I want to bring up is a point that I just didn't do it because I just didn't like the logo. So that's making a bad car elite. And as you can see right here, this was a very long time ago. I made a Ford Focus RS Elite, the GTR Premium Elite, and the RS5 Coupe, the older one, 2014 model. Now, the thing is, when you elite a car, what happens is that the car gets a 10% RP bonus. And what makes this a big deal is that when you go into live racing, a car that can get an extra 10% RP, it might not seem like much, but the more races you do, it will add up. And so you have to race less for more RP. So as you can see right here, my car gets, how do I say? If we, I think there's a wild card going on, so let's exclude that. So my car gets 5 stars, and that gives me 15 bonus, 15%. The 10% freshness is just permanent across all cars. It's a collection car, so it gets 5% bonus. And because most crews these days will have 20% RP bonus because of the contributions put together by the whole crew. So with that, it's just going to be an extra 20%. So if we just exclude the wild card, this car would give 50%. But if I made it elite, it would give me an extra 10, so 60%. So by doing that, and you go and do live racing a lot, you're benefiting your crew a lot. So you're making more RP, and it's easier all around. And this is why, if possible, it's just an if, because I didn't do it. If you can, save the McLaren F1 for your third Tempest. Because if you can elite this, you will have an RP monster. Because what makes this car so special is that it's a purple star car. So that alone makes it have 18%. It has 10% because it's a Legends car. And we add the freshness bonus, and it's also in collection, so an extra 5%. So if we add 10% more, that basically means, let me count, 48, 51, 50, wait, I think I'm messing up, so give me a second. This is 8 plus 8, 26, 40. Something's wrong. I don't know what's, because of plus this, so 20, so 38, 48, 58, 61, 66. And yeah, if you have the elite bonus, it'll be 76%. Now, 76%, when you compare it to my 50% M5 right here, that is a huge jump. And that's why the F1 is often used by people who swap. Because if they have win-loss in their name, chances are they're using the F1 because it's the most efficient way to make RP. And most people know that. And it's not that bad of a life racer. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. And let's move on to point 7. We're coming to the end already of my little ramble session right here. And that is opening crates in live racing. Opening crates in rare imports without a drop rate. So the best example right here is, look at these 2 silver crates. The one on the left is the usual one. And as you can see, there's nothing going on. But the one on the right has 20% chance that you will get the event car, the DBS. So obviously, you should only ever open crates when there's a drop rate. Because you can open crates without drop rate, don't get me wrong. But you're just going to get absolutely crappy cars most of the time. It's either going to be a 1-star Audi, a 1-star Ford Fiesta, 2-star, then see this Mustang right here. It's just not going to be good. And silver keys can be a bit hard to get. Because the only ways are your daily battle, crew championships, a prestige cup if you reach the end, a crew cup, a not supply cup. Is it called supply cup? Oh, the prize cup, yeah. So besides those events, you're not going to get silver keys too often. So you need to save them up, do your live races every day, win 15 in the morning with win 15 in the evening, you get 20. Add it up, save, and soon you will just have enough. And I only have 3,000 because I blew a ton when the F5 was the Prestige Cup car, because it was just a damned good car and I just won as many of them as I could get. And to some extent I did the same with the what's it called, the Mitsubishi Lancer, because I just liked that car so much. And I did get a lot of nice ones, don't get me wrong, but it was kind of a waste of silver keys. So that was pretty brief. Don't ever open crates without a drop rate, because you're not going to get anything good. And I should note one more thing, because if you reach loyalty, you will only get stage 6 part, which you don't even know what car is for. But if you open the 15, because for the Prestige Cups usually 15 crates that you open, you were guaranteed the car in the end. And to some extent the one on the right's just 7, but this is a what I call special silver crate, because a silver crate with 7 pull loyalty, these are usually for events and rarely come. So keep that in mind. And with that said, let's move on to the next point. And the next point is locking bad cars for Tempest. Now this ties into the first thing I brought up, judging a car by its look. Because again, I see a lot of people think, oh, this car doesn't look very fast, so it's not going to do very well. Because I made this mistake when I was doing Tempest. I locked in the the Jaguar F-Type all-wheel drive, and people don't ever lock that thing in. That's an awful car. So I was stuck in Tempest for I would say a month, until this Corvette Stingray that I brought up earlier came along. So I paid up the gold, I locked in this, I swapped the car because you can switch them, but it's very expensive in terms of gold. So I locked this one in and I was able to beat Tempest and take the car. So but that's it. That's a bit straightforward. It's just, please just do your research, make sure the car is actually good before you lock it in. And to gauge if a car is good, it's really simple, because again, it's a bit, this also ties into life racing, because cars that can get low PP but can get a lot of evo at low PP evo, low, how do I say, it can get a lot of evo at low PP levels, it's likely going to do very well in Tempest. And the easiest way is to get everything on your car to level 3 except transmission. Get that to level 4, because this gives you an indicator of how the car is going to perform. So once you get everything to level 3 except transmission, which is level 4, you might see that the PP and EVO is not so fantastic. But if I start playing with the tuning right here, watch this, it just jumps, because see, the original a bit over 1,000, but if I move the tire pressure like this, it goes all the way to 1,006. Move the nitrous, I believe it goes even higher. So at this point, this car, I can tell you it's going to be very good when you're talking about Tempest, because you don't need lots of upgrades to get the car at its maximum potential. Now, some cars like this one typically do well if you can get certain stage 6s, and for this one it's body and transmission. So what I do is I do this and I do this, and you see the evo is just even higher. Now it's not a very good life. It is decent, but it's just not top tier. That's all what I have to say about this car. So you can still use it, don't get me wrong. It's just this car is not going to be, like, let's say dominating anytime soon. I'll still be sticking to my my M5, because I just like how that car shifts. But besides that, I still will be, I'll be using M5. This one's just going to be a secondary car, just in case, let's say I just cannot find anyone in my M5, at least I have this guy on standby. So that's it. Let's move on. And that's most of my tips right away. And the last one that I didn't jot down is selling parts, because that is a very, very bad thing to do. And with that, this is my final tip. So I'll show you what I mean. Because if you go into your parts, for example, and let me use something that's pretty common, like Nissan. So if I were to sell this, I only get $200. Now, in CSR2, $200 is nothing, honestly. If I sell an epic one, which is just super hard to get, 1,000. It's just ridiculous. I don't know why the values for this are just so horribly low. And we're talking about selling parts, and just by doing that, let's just look at a car for just a good example. Let me use this because this is the car that came free in the race pass. If I were to sell this now, look what I get. 12,000. Like, I don't know, are they serious? 12,000 for a tier 5 car. And mind you, this one is quite the dyno beater, so it's pretty good to have around, but I don't use mine. But then again, why on earth will you sell that for 12,000? Because let me bring up something, because I don't know, I just cannot understand why they decided to make cars just so bad. I mean, let's just see this. Oh, you can't sell this one, because I was gonna show, because I was just playing around with this, and for example, let's use this one, the LFA. So if I go to sell, it's 95,000. Like, why? It's almost fully upgraded, and it's worth a few million. The value in the menu says a few million, and it only sells for 95K. So and going back to the Nissan that I brought up, the brown one, it sold for it sells for, how much was it again? 12,000. And if I were to just do a regulation race like this, watch this, I can get my money back in just a few seconds, and I don't even need to sell the car. So why not we sell the car? As you can see, if I do this, there's my 12 grand. So I don't need to sell anything. And you just get the point. Please don't sell anything, because if I were to, let's say, even sell a stage 6 part to 1,000, there's just no point. So keep them. You never know when you need them, because, well, it can be a bit iffy. You might see a stage 6 part, you're like, oh, I don't have that car. You might need it someday, so just keep it. Don't sell those. And with that said, I believe that's about it I have to cover. It has been a bit long. Yes, I do apologize, but despite being me just glossing over things, it's just, I wanted to make sure that you guys understand what you're getting into, because CSR2 might seem like a typical game on the surface. Oh, you and your opponent race to the finish, and that's it. Well, there's a lot of nuance that goes into this game that can be a bit hard to understand. And that's it. This is my new player checklist of what not to do. And here's a bonus, because what you might think, well, I can't show you this car, a tier 1 car. Let me get tier 1 out here. I have one right here. One thing you might also see is that if you're short on cash, especially, you go into the parts tab. Where's the parts tab? Here. And you can see that you can open 300 keys, and you open 5, you get 200k. Please don't do this, because I do see people opening this in the hopes of getting money. Please don't, because it's not worth it. Keys are very valuable, because you can use them to get parts for cars that can be a bit challenging to get parts for example, Chevrolet, as I brought up, Hennessy, Zenvo. These are the cars that you should save your keys on. And excuse the two posts, because I genuinely needed Honda parts back then, and that was many years ago. So let's just ignore that. So with that said, that covers pretty much everything I have to talk about when it comes to helping you guys get on your feet, what not to do, and probably be successful in CSR2. Now, I do apologize that the guide has been a bit long, but I do hope that it has helped someone at least. And with that said, thank you so much for listening. please remember to like, comment, subscribe. It does help the algorithm, helps my channel grow a little bit more. And with that said, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.